Bleav, national sports betting, and also their golf analyst. Cam, welcome back. It's great to have you with us.
What's going on? Great to be with you guys. Happy PGA Championship Thursday to you.
Yes, and it's been with Rory McIlroy and Tiger together, it's actually been the Rory Show. Why has it been the Rory Show so far?
Wow, this is quite a start for Rory McIlroy, and certainly something that we are not used to with Rory. Typically, he starts sort of in neutral, one over par, even one under par at major championships. Then he turns it on the weekend. But this is pretty impressive. And obviously, if you guys were following my Twitter thread about the PGA Championship, my projected winner was Rory McIlroy. It's very soon. I'm not counting my chickens, not all, guys. But let me tell you that he came into this week third in this field in strokes gained total over the last 24 rounds, sixth in off the tee, coming off a top five finish at the Wells Fargo Championship. He was runner-up at the Masters. We know he's a two-time PGA champion. And really what's working for him, he's striping it off the tee. He's got a ton of distance. And this is a long golf course here with a par 70 over 7,500 yards. The putter is working. That's what usually kind of sets him back. And with the putter, as smooth as it is here on a Thursday, I think that's going to continue through the weekend.
Needs to for him. Then there's Tiger. He's 7 shots in back of him right now, playing in the same group. And he actually got off to a good start in this thing. And then 15 through 2, because he started on the back 9, he got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so he's kind of having an up and down day. And like you mentioned, it was calmer this morning in Southern Hills, so you can sort of be a little bit more aggressive with your tee shot, with your approach shots, make some birdies. But now the wind is starting to pick up. You're starting to see this course dry out a little bit more here in the afternoon. And I'm not going to say those factors are a big reason why Tiger is struggling. The reality is he's struggling with his distance control, with his wedges. His approaches are not very good overall. He's not playing so great with his putter either. Greens in regulation, he's 50%. That's not going to get it done here this week at Southern Hills unless your short game is absolutely electric, which I don't know if that's going to be the case for Tiger here this week with a new golf course, if you will. Southern Hills went through a renovation a few years ago, so this is different than 2007, of course, where Tiger Woods won the PGA Championship. So already he has work to do. He's toward the end of his back 9 here. So if he can get in the clubhouse at 1 over even par, I would say that is a success at this point, because right now he's at 2 over.
Well, you've got a group at 3 under, and there are some really good players. No major winners in the group. Matt Kuchar, Cam Smith, who played well at the Masters, Will Zalatoris, who's one of the fine young players, Abraham Answer, Tom Hoge. And then there's Xander Schauffele, who's just about done it. He's on 18 now. He's at 2 under. What do you think of that group?
Yeah, it's really interesting. How about Mito Pereira as well? First time at the PGA Championship, 2 under par through 17. Elite ball striker. I thought he had a chance to really surprise some people here this week. So far, so good for him. Schauffele is Mr. Major Championship. He has the balanced game that you want. He pipes it off the tee, has an unbelievable driving distance ability. And by the way, Xander last Sunday at the Byron Nelson fired a 61. And when I see that, sort of an alarm goes off in my head. Okay, he's playing the next week. He's carrying that momentum over. I think he'll be good for the PGA Championship. And here he is right there in that grouping. Matt Kuchar, nobody was talking about him. I liked him for a top 20 here this week. RBC Heritage played well. Valero Texas Open played well last week too. Steady guy, great short game player. And, you know, Will Zalatoris, Cameron Smith, these guys are great ball strikers. So it really is an interesting grouping here at 2 under par.
So let's get to the personality of the course because obviously they haven't played here since 2007. It is redone.
Yep.
Do you have a gauge on the personality of this course? Because there's a lot of places that we know that even when it's in a rota, you still understand the personality even if it's been a few years apart. What's the personality of this place, do you think, so far?
Yeah, so in 2007, it was more of a U.S. Open personality, very narrow fairways, thick, luscious rough. Tiger won that PGA hitting 6 irons off the tee, and albeit it was in 110 degrees, by the way, in August that year. It's a little bit cooler, relatively speaking. So, yeah, you have wider fairways. you have these really interesting runoffs to these greens where even if you hit the green, you could get a really bad bounce or a bad roll, and the ball just rolls off. And so when I was looking at this golf course and studying like the prototypical best player for this golf course, I was really thinking about the scramblers and the grinders, because I think a lot of players this week are going to miss greens. So it comes down to really a scramble fest, if you will. Who can save themselves around the green? Rory McIlroy is top 10 in this field in terms of strokes gained around the green. So that's really working out for him this week. So you're going to see a lot of guys rip driver, as I said, wider fairways, but the greens really are the story for me here. So we'll see what happens in terms of the wind picking up throughout the weekend. Does this turn into a scramble fest? So far, it seems relatively scoreable, but there's still plenty of golf left to be played.
Well, it's, of course, a little softer right now, too, which that's one of the reasons I think it's more scoreable. That's one thing. And let me ask you this. I like what they've done with a lot of course design out there. I don't care if it's narrow fairways, wide fairways, but I think the placement of bunkers, a drivable par 4, these have been nice additions. One thing I've never liked is what you just talked about, that if you hit the green with a shot, is it going to hold? I mean, come on, you hit the green, right? You're being penalized for hitting the green. I mean, that's and I think what Pinehurst number 2 has used to have that. They used to have a lot of that. Now ever since Crenshaw and Coors got in there, it's not as much like that. But that's a feature of a course I've never liked, where you get penalized for hitting the green.
You almost feel secondhand frustration, right? When you're watching these golfers hit crisp approach shots and they're hitting the greens, and then, wait, where's it going? It's hitting that swale, and now it's off the green. So, with a golf course like Southern Hills, with this renovation, it happened back in 2019 by Gilhans, and this renovation had the purpose of actually getting the golf course back to what the founders envisioned for it. So way back in the early 1900s when this golf course was founded, this is how it should play. What we're seeing here this week, not what we saw back in 2007. But I'm with you. I mean, it is unfortunate that you have those situations, but the good news is the golf course seems a little bit soft right now, so the greens are holding, if you will. The ball is staying on the green a little bit easier than what you would expect maybe in August with a crusty sort of situation at Southern Hills. But again, the wind is going to whip. It's going to dry out a little bit as we go throughout the weekend here. But I'm with you. Yeah, it's going to be a difficult test. There's no doubt about it. The winning score in 2007 was 8. It could be around that number here this year, too.
All right. So, Cam, almost every player has a major they haven't won. It is only a select group that has the career Grand Slam. Select. I mean, Phil doesn't have the U.S. Open. Spieth doesn't have the PGA. We all know that Rory doesn't have, shockingly, the Masters. So, and Spieth is off to a 3-over, and Spieth has been playing well. What's been wrong today?
Yeah, it's been kind of a curious case for Jordan Spieth so far today. Like you said, he nearly won back-to-back events. He won the RBC Heritage, and then he nearly won last week at the Byron Nelson. And really what stood out to me in those two tournaments was his ball striking. Yeah. And you look at the numbers so far, the ball striking is there. The problem, the putter. He's losing nearly 2 strokes with the putter so far in this first round. So that's going to tell me that, okay, maybe he can find something with his putter, just get back to baseline tomorrow, continue to hit those greens, make some birdies. So he did, find some success with the putter last week. I thought that might have carried over to this week. So far, not the case, but that's been really his bugaboo to this point is the flat stick, which is interesting because you think back to 2015, 2017, when he was winning these majors, he was doing it with his short game, his putter, his artistry around these greens, not necessarily hitting 1,000,000 greens in regulation. He's over 71% so far today, which is pretty darn good in my opinion. So if he can just get back to baseline with his putter, maybe even like an average putter, a 0 putter, he doesn't have to gain any strokes. I think he can find some success here tomorrow. But, yeah, he's got some work to do, as you mentioned, 3 over par through 15.
Of the afternoon guys, the guys that have yet to go, who are you interested in really taking a long look at?
Yeah, so I am really in on Justin Thomas this week. He was inside my top 5 in terms of the power rankings, 2017 PGA champion at Quail Hollow. Really fantastic ball striker. I think this course should suit him well, the wider fairways. The problem with Justin sometimes, especially at majors and U.S. Opens, he's missing fairways, and he can't flash that amazing iron game because he's hacking it out of this luscious rough, right? So for Justin Thomas, these wider fairways will help him. I expect him to hit a lot of greens this week, and everything is setting up well for him to play well here this week. You know, Jon Rahm is a guy that I'm looking at as well, not really getting a lot of buzz because everybody's talking about who's not here, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, Scotty Scheffler. But Rahm is a guy that can certainly win again this week, and I say again because he won his previous start at the Mexico Open, so keep an eye on him. Maybe a couple sleepers I'll throw out there. Tommy Fleetwood, fantastic short game player. His PGA Championship record is just but I could see him playing well if conditions are tough this afternoon. And then Dustin Johnson. Listen, we haven't seen a lot of Dustin Johnson here in 2022, but I could see him really just coming out of nowhere, having a great Thursday.
Cam, thanks so much. You made our Thursday better. Appreciate your time very much.
Appreciate you guys. Take care. Enjoy the week.